It's fairly common knowledge nowadays that if you want to use an old rack preamp or a new rack preamp or pedal preamp with a guitar amplifier, that best practice generally dictates that you go to the effects return on your amplifier. That way you bypass the amp's preamp and you use the preamp from your external preamp to do all the preamping. You could use a dedicated power amp as well for this, like the Synergy 5050 that I've got down here. And I love the Synergy with the ADA MP-1 that I've got back there. Sounds fantastic. But I remember when I got into this stuff, so we're talking early 2000s, I was in my teens, I was reading a lot of the existing gear forums at the time where loads of people were saying that they just used to run their ADAs and similar preamps into the front of old Marshalls, and you set the Marshall clean and use the ADA for the gain. Now, I don't know what set the Marshall clean meant to different people, but that has stuck with me for a long time. And for some reason, it just percolated up from my subconscious today. So I have to try it. I've got my old ADA MP-1 in that rack back there. The two gain controls on the tube distortion channel are at 4. The master gain is at 2, but I've got the output on the front cranked all the way up. It's running into the low input of my Marshall 2959. Now, this one has been modified by the amazing Jason at Headfirst Amplifiers. If I plug into the low input there, I've got an internally jumpered stock Marshall 1959 circuit. So if I turn volume 1 up, I've got the bright channel. If I turn volume 2 up, I've got the normal channel. This one also has a master volume on it. So let's have a listen to these settings as a starting point. I've got the presence around noon. I've got the bass and treble all the way down, and I've got the mid-range control all the way up. Just trying to basically get the amp as close to neutral as I can on there. And I'm gonna start out just by turning up the volume 1 control. So this is the bright channel. There is a bright cap across it, and this is not too bad. It's better than I thought anyway. Mention as well, I've actually got the EQ on the ADA flat at the moment. Now, I expected that to just be this fizzy, horrible mess, but as I turned the overall volume on the amp up, which is really a gain control on this amplifier, it's taking out the effect of that bright cap, but it's also making it gainier as well. So I've kind of got this multi-stage tube gain setup going on with basically a variable brightness on there. Cranking it all the way up is going to take that out of there. Let's try the normal channel instead. So I'm going to turn this volume 1 all the way down, and I'll slowly turn the volume 2 up. This is not going to have that bright cap across it, so it should give me that kind of fatter sound straight away. I think I like that setup just a little bit more. I did have to crank the treble control on the amplifier up, but I don't necessarily mind that. I guess if you had something like an old 2203 style JCM 800 running the ADA into the low input on there, the low input being very, very clean, cranking up the volume control on that will probably give you a pretty similar effect on there. So this is actually working a lot better than I expected. I've tweaked the EQ on the ADA now. Bass is at 4, mids have been taken down to -6, the treble is at 4, and the presence is at 2. The presence is really like a high mid control on there. These are my go-to settings when I use this particular preamp with the Synergy power amp that I've got down here. Let's have a listen to what it sounds like. Now that's different to what I normally get out of my ADA running it into a dedicated power amp, but it's kind of cool. It's really smooth and fat and it feels good to play. When I was playing Lay It Down there, I actually turned the normal channel volume down to about 1 o'clock and I brought the amp's master volume control up to about 1 o'clock as well, and that really kind of filled it out. I feel like I could probably add a little bit of the bright channel volume in there now just to get a bit of extra sizzle and presence. Let's try that. Oh God, that was a terrible idea. Introducing that channel on there is so bright and loud that it just kind of absolutely cooks everything on there. Let's not do that one. Let's hear it though with both of the volume controls, so the standard Super Lead style controls on there, which are really gain controls in this setup, all the way up, and I'll bring the amp's master down a bit. Finally, let's hear the amp's master cranked all the way up. So this is now a stock 1959 Super Lead circuit. I've got the normal channel volume about 1 o'clock, none of the brilliant or bright channel involved in there. Let's check it out. I can rest easy now knowing that if I'm ever in a situation where I've only got an ADA MP-1 and some kind of Marshall head as backline, and I have fever dreams like this all the time where I'm like, oh my God, is it going to work? What do I do? I know in that situation now that it will definitely work. It doesn't sound as raw and open as running, say, the MP-1 into a power amp, or in this case, just using this head that I had modified that sounds amazing in its modded state. I'm going to play you all out with just the Marshall. It's got an added tube gain stage on there. So if I use the top left input on here, there is an extra control on there, which I've cranked up. I've got the volume 1 control all the way up. The master is at about 4. The mids are just below noon. Treble's cranked. A little bit of bass and presence on there. I mean, this is why I own this amp. It's just got that rude Marshall thing about it that I love so much. It is a lot easier to leave all the sizzle and character intact and then take it out in post if you have to, than try to add character to something on there. And the one thing that maybe I didn't love so much about running the 88 into the front of this was, yeah, it was just that little bit too smooth and polite. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel, various ways to support me are in the video description. I'll play you all out with this modded Marshall 2959.